just focus our attention on saving the rhinos or whatever it is. How do we try and fix the social and the moral decay that poaching has brought into the arena, the false economies, the poverty that is the cause of this thing to start off with? Well, there's the thing, these guys are kitted out, and they go through the whole process of planning to take a rhino's life, not a field ranger's life.
In the reserve, I've come across different incidents in the northern side where I chased poachers and where I was chased by poachers. I nearly told myself the day that I was chased by poachers that if I survive here, I'm resigning.
Welcome back to the Creekcast, everybody. Today we have two very special guests on what the recording day today is official Ranger Day. So congratulations, and yeah, we're gonna get straight into it. If Craig and Leitah, you can introduce yourselves.
Leitah, you first.
Sorry, someone was calling. Okay, my name is Leitah. I'm one of the supervisor.
Shame. Okay, Leitah, I think
Yes.
your finger was over the microphone or something for a few seconds. Are you sitting in the operations room?
Mambas are calling me. I told them I've got an interview. I don't know why they're calling me now.
It's okay.
That's
Don't worry
because-
about it. I mean, worst case scenario, we can do another meet and do this again today, right now. But
Yeah.
it seems to be okay for now.
Just had a vehicle pull up here now. Okay, so it's the time when the Mambas go out on their patrols now. So Leitah is sitting in the operations room, and I'm sure everybody's harassing you and everything. So I'll give you the capital. I'll go first. Oh my goodness! Just give me a second. I'm sorry, guys. These people have popped in here on a game time. Hats, and I'm also the warden of this part of the Greater Kruger. How's it, guys? What's cooking? There were some wild dogs down near the Eskom gates earlier. They might still be there, but otherwise I haven't seen any lions around. I know, everybody wants to see the lions, but I don't know where they are right now.
They're hiding.
No, it's been quiet. That is, we are live on a podcast. So, if you see any lions, let us know. And likewise, I'll do the same. Happy birthday to Lucky. Okay. So getting back to business, I am the warden of this section of the Greater Kruger in Baluli. It's on the western boundary of the Kruger National Park in South Africa. I'm looking out over into the direction of Zimbabwe now, and on the right-hand side is Mozambique. If you're prepared to walk about 60 kilometers. This is where we stay. This is our camp. It doesn't look like much, but there's a few little huts dotted around all over the place. So the elephants and the lions and whatever can walk through the camp anytime they like. There's nothing to stop them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we started the Black Mambas in about, I think we deployed for the first time in 2013, Leitah?
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, Leitah, when you introduce yourself, you mustn't hold back, hey? You're not just a Black Mamba, you're one of our senior Black Mambas. What's your rank?
I'm the Black Mamba supervisor.
Yes, that is correct.
Perfect.
And the patrols are starting right now, so it's going to be a little bit busy in the operations center as everybody comes and goes, picking up their equipment. It's the only place they can charge their cell phones and the radios, the walkie-talkies and spotlights and so on.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm currently in the ops room now, where I've got my walkie-talkies, I've got the simophone that Mambas use when they go out on patrol, and then the map that helps me to see where the Mambas are and where should we send the Mambas to go and sweep.
Oh wow! Well, that's really
Yeah.
interesting. I think we'll delve into that in a few minutes. But right now that we have a brief overview of what you do and who you are, I think it's appropriate for us to go into our tiny little ad break, and we'll go straight to the questions after that.
Yeah.
So, see you in a second.
Welcome back from that little ad break. So yeah, we got the brief little overview, and kind of also, if you're watching us, you could see around the camp and inside the operation room. So yeah, kind of starting off, I guess we'll address you first, Craig, on kind of your whole process of getting involved in anti-poaching and so kind of interested in and invested in this wildlife.
All right, thanks, guys. It started, my journey in the anti-poaching arena started many years ago, way back in about 1996, 1998, when I was based much further south in South Africa, and there was a lot of poaching going on. I was working in the conservation arena, and there was a lot of poaching going on, particularly in the marine environment, so abalone, rock lobster, Patagonian toothfish, etc. And that problem hadn't been addressed, so we decided in my department to start an anti-poaching unit to try and address that. And it was the same end user. The products were being harvested by the local people of Africa for export to China, to the east, as a high value commodity. And I persisted with that for about 11 years, and it was very militarized and what have you. And then I decided I would move up back into the savannah from whence I came originally, and to get away from the anti-poaching arena. I wanted to get back into academia and pursue my academic career and what have you. And then in about 2012, the rhino poaching was really bad on this landscape. And again, we were kind of caught unawares with our pants down, so to speak, and we had to do something. And I thought, it was my experience in anti-poaching, throwing a lot of guns and helicopters and things at the problem didn't seem to work. We just kept investing further and further and further into kind of an arms race, if you like. We needed a different approach, and we sat down, and with a little bit of inspiration from the campfire and a bottle of rum, we decided it would be best to go into the communities and ask them for help and see how we could do this better.
Yeah,
hence the Black Mambas.
Nice.
Yeah.
We actually often hear that when we're talking about different groups that go into other kind of nationalities and go into the groups, that always the right answer to the problem always ends up being somewhere where you can ask the local group for help, because they know their lands way better. So it's kind of impressive to see that pattern come together here.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, also kind of as you mentioned, kind of looking for that solution inside of the community. I guess that transitions a bit into Leitah, and how did you exactly come into the Black Mambas and kind of start investing yourself into it?
Okay, thank you so much. It started when I was at school. I was doing grade 10, I think, and we met with the company from Timbavati Foundation. So they used to come to the village and teach us about how to plant how to grow plants in the gardening to feed ourselves. And then I think now it's making sense that it was very much helpful, because we just had a lockdown and people went home, they were not working. So that knowledge they gave us is really working. So from there, they took us in holidays to the Timbavati Foundation so that we go and learn about animals and how to protect the environment. So after my matric, I heard of a friend that I went to school with telling me that there is a company that needs to hire ladies to raise awareness and also work with the communities to save the iconic animals in South Africa. So that's when I went and sent my CV. I did the interview. Craig interviewed me and I passed the interview. So that's when I started to attend my training, which was a hard training, like a rural girl coming inside the reserve where there is a big five and had to walk there and follow the poacher's tracks, learn about animals and like animals' behavior and animals' tracks. So that's where it started. I think I gained patience from the little information that I got because I thought they were not killing the rhinos, but they were just injecting them so they can remove the rhino horn, but only to find they are killing them, which is something that I don't want. I want my grandkids to see the real rhino. So that's when I started saying that I will do this. I won't stop until rhino poaching stop because I want to protect the animals.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of like personally, I got the experience and had the luck, honestly, to be able to live in South Africa, and I also visited these places and saw these animals, and when you find out what's going on, it breaks your heart that this is the like that's how it is, you know. It's kind of something so sad that we have to fight it with fire, I guess, in order to try and save the population.
Yeah, it is very much sad because you can think people are not that greedy. And I have learned that I am quite scared of a person more than the lion, the elephant, the hippo, because a person will threaten my family just to come and get a rhino horn. But a lion won't do that to me. I will be walking in the fence line, then I bump into a lion. I just use the tricks that I got from my training and I survive. But then a person will keep pushing and pushing and pushing, saying that you are from the very same community where I'm coming from and you're stopping me to get what I want to get. So there will be emotional threat from that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's why it's a pretty noble cause. I mean, I understand there's risks that come with it. Could you talk about that more? Do you get threatened, like you said, or what's the stakes here?
So most of the time when we go on our sweep and we find people that we think we might know or they might know us, the black mambas are coming from different villages. So those who will be coming from the village where we think the people are from are going to hide and they won't be in contact with those people. So those who don't know those people, they will be in contact with them, arresting them, getting all the things that they have taken from the reserve. So that is very much risky because we are putting our life in the line and our family's life in the line. But because we are the lawyers for the animals, we are their voice. We have to speak for them. We have to protect them because they can protect themselves. So there are so many challenges that we're coming across, but because we love this job and we want to protect the animals, we make sure that we protect ourselves and the animals from the poachers. So when it comes to animals, as every day in the morning we are doing walks, we are doing sweep. We have been taught what to do when we come across an aggressive lion, so or an aggressive elephant. So we know how to behave, and we also come across poachers in the reserve. I've come across different incidents in the northern side where I chased poachers and where I was chased by poachers. I nearly told myself the day that I was chased by poachers that if I survive here, I'm resigning. But after that, there is something that talks inside your heart, because I think the love for nature don't just come. You have it inside you. So after like surviving that incident, there is something that comes back to you that if you resign, and you as a woman, who is going to do it better than you? So there is something that always pushes me that I have to go. We've got in community that we're teaching about protecting the wild animals and teaching them that there is so many careers that they can use in nature conservation. So if I resign as a role model in my village, I'm going to kill lots of children's mind. They will start to think that what I was telling them was not true because myself, I have failed. I'm no longer doing it. So I have to think of those kids. I have to think of the animals. I have to think of my village and South Africa as well. And also we are benefiting more in nature conservation. I am able to put food in the table at home because of this job. So if I don't protect the rhino, my kids won't be able to have food at the end of the day. And people in the community will start thinking that we need to use bullets to get the rhino horn. Then I go to them and tell them that we need to use education to protect the animals. So that is something that keeps pushing the Black Mambas that we have to do it because we know we're not doing it for ourselves, but for the whole world, for the next generation, for our own kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautifully said. I mean, it kind of something that we hear a lot is that sense of having to kind of build a process and a community instead of trying to find the easy way out in a way, and how every little thing, every action in a way will end up affecting the bigger situation at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, I guess personally, Craig, that makes me curious to for you, how can it be difficult at times to kind of organize a group like this and kind of build that sense of community? And it seems like it's a very close group as well.
Yeah, it's true, and it's one of the things that makes the Black Mamba team so successful is that kinship that they feel for each other, that kind of pseudo kinship, which I think is very important. It's a sisterhood. You know, and especially in a male-dominated, male-driven work environment, for the ladies to stand together under the same umbrella, wear the same uniforms, you know, and to have a common goal, I think has been quite instrumental in building that strong bond amongst the ladies of the Black Mambas. You know, there's a lot of challenges on the landscape, and one of them is that a lot of the old school guys, you know, they find it quite hard to accept that women have entered into this arena because it's like the last Bastille for, you know, men in their 4x4s and so on. So we've got to always try and we find ourselves convincing the people on this landscape, not internationally and not in the villages where the Mambas are recruited from, but actually in the conservation management arena. That's where our challenges actually lie. You know, to say these ladies are capable of doing the job, you know, have respect for them and recognize them for what they have achieved and what they stand for and their values. That's one of our biggest challenges.
Yeah, I mean, the group speaks for itself. Just the entire organization is a proof of concept that it doesn't really matter the gender. It's just your passion and your willingness to put yourself on the line for those who can't protect themselves. Again, a really noble cause, and I'm just mind blown as just to hear everything here. So it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And I think something that we've got to bear in mind is that we approached the community to hire young women because we wanted the values that women bring into the arena. We didn't want to hire young women so we could convert them into men, because that would have been a failure. You know, so it's unfair to say, oh, but a man can do things that a woman can't do, and so on and so on. That might be very true. But at the same time, the men are not the primary caregivers in the community. And if I want to make a long-term investment in the community, then it stands to reason that you would go for the primary caregivers. Then you're getting a multi-generational input. You know, so the Mambas' work is not just in the bush. It's also when they go back home, they're carrying the flag for the rhinos. You know, they are ambassadors for the wildlife and the rhinos back at home as well.
Yeah,
multi-generational. But there's a lot of effort to duplicate the model that we've got, the Black Mamba model, and it always boils down to men soliciting young women and then shaving their heads and painting them with war paint and making them into little men. And we're saying, no, guys, you've got it all wrong. We're actually celebrating the fact that these are young, beautiful women, and they should be proud of that. They are not just field rangers, but their mothers and aunties and sisters, and wives and future grandmothers of those communities. We should not be taking that away. We should be building on that.
Yeah.
So, it's been lacking in conservation for so long. We haven't had that set of values in here. It's always been a male-dominated domain, and we need to join hands and work together. This is a big old chocolate cake that we're trying to build, and there's all kinds of weird ingredients that go into cake, but you can't eat one of those ingredients on its own because it's going to taste disgusting or make you sick. But if you mix them all together, it will come out as this beautiful thing that everybody can enjoy.
Yeah,
that's a perfect analogy, I would say.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of like hearing you say that, it isn't a matter of kind of the self-ego of trying to prove that men can do it instead of women, or women can do it instead of men. It's really just a matter of, we're doing this for the greater cause, which is protecting the wildlife and the animals, which are so beautiful to the land and the community, because it's a part of it. You can't just take it away. So yeah, I mean, it really is beautiful.
Absolutely. We must never lose sight of the fact that is our primary goal. I think there's a number of different ways to achieve that goal, and if we try and do it all together with the objective of achieving the goal, we're here to save wildlife. We're not here to take fathers and brothers and things out of the community and put them in jail. If that is a consequence of it, then so be it. But our primary objective has got to be to save the rhinos and the wildlife.
Yeah.
Not, it's so cool to fly around in helicopters, because it is cool to fly around.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool.
Drive 4x4 through the bush and dodge elephants and lions. Yes, that's cool. But that's our work environment, and those are the tools in our toolbox to do it. We must not lose focus of our primary objective here.
Yeah. I mean, it really sounds, I mean, if like just from hearing it, it sounds like a very connected community. And like, as you said, that's sisterhood in a way. So Leitah, like, I am curious to see when you're out there on the job or in any part of it, what's the thing that you love most about it?
Actually, I love going out in the field. I enjoy walking because so many people comes from outside South Africa and pay lots of money to see the lions, the elephant, and while they are sitting inside a car. But myself, I just walk where the lions are walking, where the elephants are walking. I see them drinking water every day. So that is a precious moment. That's where I get to even take pictures and videos to show my family and my kids what I am doing, and for them to see the real animals, not only to see them in the pictures. So what I love most is going out there, as I always go out with pride, knowing that I'm going to protect the iconic animals, and coming back without seeing a carcass of a rhino horn. So that means I have done my job, and I have made sure that the elephants are safe. I've made sure that the fence line is perfect. No poacher has came inside. And I also love going to the villages because there are so many questions that the kids are asking. They want to know why we're doing this, why we are women. Can they write a letter to a poacher or to South African minister? They've got so many things that they want to change. So that makes me happy because I can see that me being in the community, teaching them about wild animals, about the love that the animals need, it shows that kids are really responding. And as we are investing in them, and as they are our future generation, it shows me that we are being successful on the job that we are doing, and we are receiving a positive knowledge from the kids. It shows that the world will change a bit by bit when these kids are growing, because they will grow up knowing that they have to fight for the wild animals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about that. Not only doing the good fight, but preparing the later generation to take the torch and take your place, but not only from a place of necessity, but more of a place of just wanting and loving the animals that you're fighting for. Because it's not something that you can just, oh yeah, I'll be a poacher, I don't know, I guess. It's not something that you can just shoot in the dark without having a true passion for it. As I'm seeing it right now, the organization is full of people who truly do love what they do and are willing to put everything on the line for them. So I applaud you for that pretty noble thing to do that not many would do.
Yeah, and
Thank you so much.
I mean, also when you're out there on the field, as you mentioned before, there's obviously, it's bound to be risky, and there's going to be risks on either way. So yeah, I mean, I guess this question goes to both of you, of either stories you've had with poachers, or out in the field, or in kind of building the organization, or in the communities. You know, any real stories that left a mark on you?
The story that left a mark in me, that's when I was there were rhinos that were killed by poachers inside Balule, and they had the little rhinos. So we had to take them to an organization where they will be taken care of and grow there. So I went there to volunteer for 6 months. So that's where I've learned about the love that the rhino is having, because I always had to patrol the area where the rhinos are staying. I had to clean where they are staying. I had to create a mud wallowing for them. I had to make sure they get clean water every day. So that was taking me back to my kids at home, that I am sharing the love that I'm having for my kids with the animals. So every day while I was doing that, if you can just go and sit down and call that rhino by its name, it will come running to you and put its head on top of your legs and ask you to scratch it so that it can fall asleep. And that's exactly what it happens to our kids. So I felt so unique as a woman, that I am doing the right job that me as a woman I am created to do, protecting the animals and also being the mother to my kids. Another part was when I went out in the bush. We found 2 buffaloes that was killed by snares, because by that time, I think it was 2015 and 2016, every day we would pick up about 70 fresh snares that has been put by different groups of poachers coming from the villages that is surrounded by the reserve. So we decided to go back because we knew they're going to come back for this meat. While we are doing that ambush, we saw a car coming, and then they were coming to collect the meat. So we chased the people out of the reserve, and it was successful. So that's when I was so happy that me as a woman, I have managed to chase men out of the reserve. I've managed to make them think that they have to go out and use their hands to work and create money or something that they're going to use to provide for their families. And I didn't use a bullet to kill those guys that came inside the reserve, because they are from the villages where us as Mambas are coming from. And we cherish life. We also don't want to live in a village where there are orphans and widows. If those 2 men were killed by Mambas, and when I go home, their kids will be angry at me, and they will be like, we're not going to listen to her talking about nature conservation and everything, because she has killed our parents. We are now suffering because she took the life of their parents. But we have put our boots on the ground and chased them out of the reserve, and we go back to the community and teach the kids about preventing crime. So this is something that makes me happy, and being a role model in the community. You know, when we start with this project, I remember as we were going to the training, there were few men who said words to us saying, "What are those girls trying to do? They're not gonna make it. We have seen men run away from that training." but none of the ladies that I did the training with ran away from the training. So that's where we prove to men that we can do exactly what they can do, and we are good people for that. So I think the message that we have sent in different ways, that we have sent to the community and to people all over the world, is bringing change, and it also inspiring myself and motivating us that we can do better, because we're not only dealing with animals only, but people in the villages and young kids that we have to groom.
Yeah, well, I
Now, I
mean,
think you've touched on. Sorry, guys, I want to quickly add there. Something that's very close to my heart is what Leitah has just said right now. That we must understand that there's a socio-political and a socio-economic cause or kind of that's the causal factor. That's got to be addressed. We're not going to address that just inside the national park. If we just focus our attention on saving the rhinos or whatever it is, how do we try and fix the social and the moral decay that poaching has brought into the arena, the false economies, the poverty that is the cause of this thing to start off with, and the historical political injustices on the landscape, So that's got to be addressed. And, we place so much pressure on the black mambas to say, okay, your job is not just to look after the rhinos, but when you go home, we expect you to be a responsible mother, role player in your community, go to the schools, educate them, blah, blah, blah. There's this huge responsibility on the shoulders of a black mamba.
Yeah, I mean, we've also talked about this on previous episodes, again, of how these environmental issues are not only purely environmental, but we have to go to the core of the problem, or it would be just a blind goose chase of see how we end a problem. So by going down to the roots and trying to educate the communities and being role models for young generations, I think that's exactly the perfect way to tackle a problem like this. And I'm just really happy to see that these types of communities just exist around the world that are just so dedicated to what they do, and they care, and not only for the animals but for their communities. It's really inspiring. And I just wanted to ask, just for our viewers, what exactly do you do? Just let's put a hypothetical scenario. Like, let's say you see poachers. What exactly do you do to get them away?
Okay, so we've got our armed response, and as the black mambas are the eyes and ears of the reserve, when we see poachers, we hide while we are looking at the direction that they are heading, and then we give information using our walkie-talkie and the semaphore. So we give information to the ops room where I am now, and then Craig will be also involved, helping to send people to the right place where the members are giving direction of where the poachers are heading. Since we are unarmed, we can't go straight to the poachers. So by giving direction of which directions the poachers are heading, that helps to chase them out of the reserve, or it helps to get for those people that will be following them to know exactly where to get the poachers.
Yeah, so basically it seems more like you play mind games on them in a way to kind of force them out of the reserve. Yeah, that's impressive. Because what you would expect as somebody from an outside perspective is probably to fight it with bullets and weapons, and it's quite the opposite, which is what you were leaning into as well, of how that in itself already leaves a mark on the community, knowing that violence isn't the answer to every problem. So you're fixing it in a different way, which is really interesting. And I just kind of off the top of my head, how many poaching events or poachers do you usually find on a day-to-day?
When we go out for sweeping, we come across maybe 2 or 3 people going out putting snares. Those are bushmeat poachers. But most of the time, with the incident that we had of rhino poachers, it will be a group of 3 or 4 guys Going out, one will be carrying a bag full of water or food, whatever they will need to eat. Somebody will be holding a weapon, and the last guy actually will be holding a weapon to protect the others that are in front.
Yeah.
It's just to build on to that. The whole idea with the Mambas, the whole kind of ethos is based on the British policing model with the bobbies on the beat. I don't know if you've ever heard of that concept before. So they're unarmed, they dress smartly, and they cover a lot of ground. So everywhere you look, it's there's a bobby on the beat. You know, their beat is the area that they patrol, so they know their beat very well. They know everybody. They can wave and say, "Oh, there goes the Bob," you know, and Bob is the baker, and he's dropping off his kids at school, and la la la. But hang on, there's a vehicle I don't recognize, or there's something that's out of place, because they've got that institutional memory of their area. And everybody else knows them as well. It's like, morning, Leitah, good morning, goodness, you know, and they all wave at each other. Until something is outside of the ordinary and requires further investigation, then you go from just general inspection to investigation mode, like a set of tracks in a place that it shouldn't be or whatever. But the idea is that they are not armed and they don't pose any threat, any kind of violent threat to the poacher. Because then we'll be fighting that force continuum, and they'll have to come and defend themselves against the Mambas. And then the Mambas are young mothers, and they've got to go home and tuck their children into bed at night. And there's none of those safety nets like you would have in Europe or in America, where you could go for counseling and get a box of chocolates or whatever, you know, if you had to shoot somebody and open some roses and whatever. You know, it's just life as normal. But that psychological baggage is something that will transfer back to the children. And back to the community, and we don't want to place that psychological burden on the Mambas.
Yeah.
We, you know, to put it into perspective, the Mambas are deployed on the periphery of the park, so they're the early detection. They're the eyes and ears, so they'll be able to call in and say, "Guys, we think poachers have come in now. You know, there's tracks. We patrolled here a few hours ago, and there was nothing. Now suddenly there's these tracks heading in the easterly direction. 3 guys." You know, going to that water hole or whatever it is. And then the ops room, where Leitah is the commander there, will be able to dispatch an armed response. So then for every Mamba team that is deployed, there is a really small little armed response team as well. They're doing other things. You know, they're repairing vehicles or driving a tractor to fix the roads and that. But as soon as the need arises, then they're out there to back the Mambas up and take it to the next level. But we don't want the Mambas to get involved with the taking of human life, you know, and that kind of controversial stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, like we've already discussed, I mean, just like when you kill someone, I mean, they're trying to provide for their family. It's not like they do it for fun. It's not that they are evil people. I mean, poachers have to be like a certain degree of evil, but it's certainly not just something they do out of malice. They definitely do it out of need. So killing a father or a brother will definitely just make people bitter. So I think this approach is the perfect way to do it, since it's just preserves a life. It preserves the most amount of lives possible, if you think about it. Both the animals and the poachers and the Mambas.
Well, there's the thing, you know, these guys are kitted out, and they go through the whole process of planning to take a rhino's life, not a field ranger's life. You know, that's not part of their planning, and we don't want to make that part of their planning. We don't want to say, hey, if you come into this neck of the woods, you better be armed to the teeth, because the Mambas have got guns. You know? Then you have to fight your way through the black Mambas. Rather say, just hide in the bush and wait. The Mambas will be past. Nobody has to shoot at anybody here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're going to make it an unprofitable, a difficult place to poach.
Yeah. I mean, really amazing everything we've heard so far on this episode. I think I've been mind blown. And we're gonna start closing out with the big 3, which is the regular questions, or well, 3 big questions we ask to every guest. So these will go to both of you. I guess we can start off with Craig, which starting off with, who is your biggest inspiration? whether it's personal or professional life?
My biggest inspiration in my personal life, I would have to say it's my father. He was a military man his entire life, and always maintained dignity, human dignity in particular, firm but fair. Managed to put up with hardships and so on, but always preached, if you like, that human life is what is the word I'm looking for? Is sacred. Human life is sacred. We must really use that as a very, very last resort, and that we always have to look at injustices and causal factors and so on. He's a very wise man, I would like to say. My father in my personal life. And then in my professional career, when I was growing up, there was a guy called George Adamson. I don't know if you guys remember that. And they made some movies, Born Free and so on and so on. But he was such a strong advocate for lions. When nobody even considered lions' numbers might be declining on the landscape and whatever. But he was there to build up a huge conservation program around an apex predator that was killing cattle. It's a very controversial species in East Africa. A lot of human wildlife conflict stuff going on, and he just stood firm and never deviated from his mission. Took no self-enrichment, lived a humble lifestyle like we do, and it was all about the lions, and not just because he loved lions, but because there needed to be a change in the people's minds about how they perceive lions, and how we have to share responsibilities with living on the landscape in Africa and whatever. He was a great man.
Yeah, wow. And Leitah, now the same question to you.
Okay, thank you. There was this woman called Edna Molewa. She was the environmental affairs minister in South Africa. So she passed on, and what I loved about her and what I've learned from her is that being a woman doesn't stop you to grab every opportunity that you see. And she has supported so many women in the villages and educating them that they can do anything and they can enter into the men's world and bring change. So that's what I loved most about her. And Craig Spencer. This man here has done a lot of things in our life, and he has bring more change. Myself, as I am talking now, I was not like this. I was just a girl from the rural village. But now I've gained more knowledge about life, about the environment, about the animals, about the benefits that I have to give back to my community. He taught me how to give back to my community, how to make change in the community where I come from. So being a woman and given a chance to prove yourself, or given a chance to show that there are so many things that you can do, it is very much big in my life.
Yeah.
Very much big. We are difficult people to work with. We've got, we've got different things. Let me say, maybe it's how God created us as women. But he has been the strongest guy to maintain us and to keep being patient with us. Like a group of 36 girls, it's just it's just something else. But we've been here for 8 years now. We are working with him. He's been patient with us. He's teaching us a lot of things. Every time, whenever I do an interview with him, I make sure I have a pen and paper, because I'm learning how you give response, and I'm also learning of something that I didn't know about the environment, about the bush. So I'm learning so many things from him. He inspired me.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you, Leitah. It's kind of you to say so. You guys are my inspiration as well. But I can't say one. I can't have favorites. Those are the secrets.
It's a pleasure.
Well, that's really nice to hear. that goes to the highlights, I would say.
Yeah,
Really
definitely.
heartwarming. So right now we're a little short on time, so I think we'll go to our biggest question of them all, which is, what mark do you want to leave in this world? So any of you, it goes to both of you. So
Whoever goes first.
I'll start first.
Okay.
Later,
Okay.
don't mind. But I'm
Okay,
actually
cool.
also going to. I have to get to the entrance gate. They're waiting for me there. My biggest, if you want to talk about leaving a legacy and so on, I really would like to exit or hand over this landscape. I have to retire at some stage. I can't live forever. But I would like to hand this landscape over to people with the right moral compass, for conservation. And that's the Black Mambas. I want to say, one day Craig Spencer's in an old age home or whatever, or 6 feet underground and so on, comfortable with the knowledge that it's in good hands. And it's resilient to political change and drought and economic crises like we've just seen now with the COVID-19 thing. The Mambas have kept it together as an essential service, even when money was short and the donations dried up and so on and so on. There they were. So yeah, that would be. Otherwise, it's like, let's say, a 40-year career in conservation, all for nothing. So that is what I want to leave behind, is a team of mothers that have the moral compass and will take this reserve to the moon and back.
Beautiful.
beautiful stuff. So now,
I want.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
one.
Okay, cool. Myself as a woman, I want to see the young generation from the villages in Africa to, let me say, to be more in nature conservation. And I want to be that person who can help them go in there, who can help them make the change in their life and also in their in the game reserves that are near their villages. I want to see women not giving up on themselves. I want to see women grabbing opportunities that they feel like it's best for them to take. And I want to be that women standing there and advising them, sharing my knowledge of everything that I have learned in the Black Mambas project to make South Africa, or to make Africa, a greater place for women to raise their voices.
Okay, so that was beautiful said. So right now the call is going to end, but we can make another one.
Yeah,
It's
2 seconds.
going to end. Just we'll make another one. Okay. Wow. Well,
So-
everyone, that was some great questions. It's honestly been a great episode. It's one of my personal
Definitely.
favorites. It's
Yes.
honestly been a pleasure to have you both here and give us your perspective. This is what this podcast is all about. So
Yeah.
I'm just really happy that you agreed to come
Yeah.
here, and we hope to see you on another future episode.
Yeah, really thank you. It's been a pleasure and an honor to kind of be able to, thank you for taking the time out of your day, because if you heard this episode, they are very busy people. so yeah, really thank you for this. It was truly eye-opening and an experience.
So
Fantastic. No, thanks, guys. Some great questions, and it's always nice to have an opportunity to spread the word about poaching, the problems in Africa, and some feel-good stories about how we are addressing these problems. Not all doom and gloom.
Yes.
Down here on the dark end. We've got fantastic people like the Black Mambas that are keeping it together. So thanks for that
Yes.
opportunity.
no problem.
Brilliant.
Well, once again,
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for talking to us. It motivates us when we we get people who wants to know about the Black Mambas. That shows that we are being recognized outside South Africa and also in South Africa. It's very much difficult to be working alone. Nobody is asking you anything about your job. Nobody wants to know the challenges that you come across. But when there are people that calls and want to know how is it, how are the challenges, what can we make to bring change, it really motivates us to continue with the job that we're doing, knowing that we've got other eyes that are
Yeah.
looking at us
Yeah.
from far from where we are.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, thank you so much once again, really.
It's been a pleasure, a great episode, and dear listener, thanks for coming so far through this episode. It's honestly been a lot of fun, a lot of learning, a lot of eye-opening stuff.
Yes.
And we'll see you on our next episode. Remember, here's our Instagram, our YouTube, our Twitter, and follow the Black Mambas on everything they have. We'll leave some links and information when this episode comes out, so please be sure to check them out. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Creek you later.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.